There we go, we're on, thank you. Then can I get a motion, please?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Minutes approved. And the claims, we have already signed and asked our questions about that. I'll make a motion that we accept the claims as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Miss Whitney, you're up. Please turn on the microphone up at the podium. There you go. You were good. You had it. Try it again. There you go.
So a Crystal Beach update. So hiring is going really well. We are currently at 15 lifeguards, 12 swim instructors, 13 concession staff that will migrate between Rucker and Crystal Beach, and 9 front desk staffs. So the great thing about this is that there's been a lot of people that I'm going to be able to recruit to umpire and scorekeep. Lots of high schoolers that have experience playing baseball and softball, so a lot of the concession staff and front desk. So there's going to be a lot of moving around for them. Lots of opportunities for working and helping us out all summer. Training, and that doesn't include the pool manager, the assistant pool manager / lifeguard coordinator, and the swim lesson coordinator. So those are all 3 full-time staff that are highly capable individuals that are already doing great things. We are in the process of working on getting our lifeguards and swim instructors certified. We are slightly delayed because both Southwestern's pool is closed and Madison's pool is closed. So we're working on a blended program for the participants, so they do part of it at home, and then they'll do the skills checkout and practice with me and Shelly at either Switz County Y or Carroll County until we get our pool open, and then we can have another certification where those kids who missed out or participants that missed out the first round can get certified. My plan is to have certifications all the way up till the pool opens. So I'm not too worried if they're not certified until we have water in the pool, because we have lots of people who can help out with that. Let's see, as far as training, we're going to the pool operators course Wednesday and Thursday to become masters of all things Crystal Beach Aquatic Park, engineering, and let's see, what else do I have on here for Crystal Beach? Is there any questions about Crystal Beach, where we're at?
What's your target for lifeguards, like total number you're hoping for?
Love to have 30 lifeguards total. Some of those swim instructors will also be lifeguards, so I'd really like to push it. And that 15 lifeguards does not include the 3 full-time management positions we have. So technically we have 18 lifeguards. But I would feel most comfortable with 30 lifeguards, since we'll be having programming before and after the pool is normal open hours for the
Okay.
public. So right now we're open from 8:30 till 7:45 at night with programming, and with the main hours being between 12 and 6. I mean, we could even open up earlier and do open lap swim and stuff prior to that. So the more lifeguards we have, the better.
Do you know how many stations you're gonna have going at one time?
I don't know at this moment. Do you have I want to say it's like 10.
I think the plan showed 9 stations, and the idea is that we're going to rotate through, so we're not going to shut down for 15 minutes every hour. So during any given time, basically 12 to 6, we'll probably have 11 to 13 lifeguards, so we can switch people out, give people breaks, move them through. We can have less on the off times because we'll have less people in the pool. But right now, I think we've got 9 stations.
Now, the only place that I know that I've seen the posts on social media asking for lifeguards and stuff like that. Have we posted it in the newspaper or anywhere else? Or is that just generated through the social media so far?
That, to my knowledge, has just been generated
That's usually the best, word of mouth, honestly.
Yeah, I will say that we've had, 100% of the people that have walked through have been very confident in immediate hires. So we're having really good luck with the audience that we're targeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's time for new business. Mr. Klein, do you have any new business to bring up?
I don't have any new business that's not already identified in the agenda.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Burnett, you're up. Assistant Director Report.
Okay.
Don't forget my parade announcement.
Okay. We'll start with the senior center since that's listed first on the agenda. We've had increased traffic over there. The Lifetime Resources meals are up to about averaging 25 people per meal, which is a large number. It's the largest number they have in all of the Lifetime Resources counties, so that has been going very well. Thornton Terrace has partnered with us to provide groceries for bingo on Tuesday mornings, so we now have grocery bingo, which is a request that the senior center had. The seniors over there wanted some exciting prizes, and groceries is the thing. Our coordinator position is open. We just posted that job last week. Michelle let us know she's moving on, so if you guys know anybody that would be a good fit over there, it's very active and busy. And then I do want to talk to you guys about dances and get some input on those. We're having trouble keeping bands to play on Friday nights. One of the bands raised their prices, which we're not breaking even on those anyway.
We
Well,
do have a-
I just mentioned you, it'd be nice, like, I wonder if we could ask Hanover, could they do one a month and we could do one a month? Oh, my Lord, I am so sorry.
We did just discover that there's a lady doing dances at the fairgrounds the first Friday of every month. It's like bluegrass country, and it's a big space. So I'm gonna reach out to her and just see about partnering with her and just promoting that as an option for the seniors, because they're live bands and it's a big enough space that they can line dance and do all those things. So that would be a once a month option. If you have any thoughts, just let me know, but just something to think about and consider. Not sure what direction we're going to go with that right now. Next on the list, we have the skate party, which this last skate, we had a phenomenal turnout, bigger than the first. I guesstimate there was over 500 people there throughout the night. We did run out of skates again. We have purchased 50 more pairs of skates, so we'll have 200 pairs of our own skates to continue having those. We have the next one scheduled for May 3rd and 4th. We decided that since there were so many people coming, it just made sense while we had it set up to try that 2 nights in a weekend. See how that goes. We'll try it once, and if it works, great. We will not have those through the summer when it's so busy and the pool's just opening up, so we probably won't have June and July skates, but phenomenal turnout. Families just keep asking us to do them more and more. I don't know that we can do it more than we are already, but like we said, that was a way we saw to increase the opportunity, was just to do it 2 nights in one weekend. Same time, same cost and all that. Any questions about that before I move on? No? Okay. The summer event update. The movies in the park, you do have a flyer there in front of you. Those dates and movies are all set. May 24th, we've got Back to the Future. July 3rd, Madison. July 26th, Wonka. August 23rd, Mary Poppins. And then October 4th, Scoob. And those are completely sponsored. We have enough money to cover those already in sponsorships. The Hometown USA Parade and the fireworks, we still are in need of sponsors. Those are coming in, but they're not fully sponsored yet. So hopefully have the rest of that soon. I will mention the Christmas parade that we are considering moving to an evening parade. We will move that to the second weekend in December if we go that route, just so it doesn't conflict with Tour of Homes, the night's candlelit tour. That was the biggest request we got, that if we do switch it, it not be that same weekend and run into their traffic. So it would be the second if we switch it. And hopefully by the next park board meeting, we'll have a firm decision on that. Any questions on any of that before we move on to the campground? No? Okay, well, we have new campground hosts, Doug and Georgia Vest, who have joined us tonight to share updates, and they have hit the ground running. Lots of fresh ideas and new things. There's just a lot of new stuff, and the campground really looks nice, just from what they've done already. So they're going to come share some ideas, and we do have a couple proposals for you to look at. Come on up. Yeah, Georgia, you got to come too.
It's good to be home. This brings back a lot of memories because I used to have to stand in front of city council. So, but we've been doing a lot of cleaning. We had some plumbing issues that Trevor from the Parks Department took care of, from where it sat all winter long. Those are all taken care of. Lots of cleaning, lots of mowing in between rain showers. We got it looking pretty good. Lots of river watching, obviously. I was used to that from the old days, watching the Noah Markland Dam. So, but I think we're in good shape there. What's gets left behind is going to be another story, but we know how that works too. Georgia's probably the most creative person I've ever met. She's got great ideas. She's been bouncing off of Tanya and Scott. And we're just continue to throw things out there and see if, as far as marketing, she's met with Hannah a few times on some marketing ideas. And I think our main focus, other than making sure the guests come back and enjoy themselves, is the Monday through Thursdays. That's when we're slow. That's when we don't have a lot of business or a lot of guests. So I think there's some ideas of maybe helping that along as well that might want to bring up. But the weekends pretty much take care of themselves, and obviously the big events are full, so that's a good thing. Any questions?
So a couple of things that we've been talking about, and one thing we've already done. So when Doug and Georgia came, they came to me and said, hey, can we get a tote for our black water so we don't have to disconnect and move and we can dump? And I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. And then I thought, well, what if we had another tote for people who come come and can stay longer, and then they don't have to worry about disconnecting and go dumping, because we don't have sewer at each one of our sites. So we purchased a second one that we will rent out for a use, a fee per use, that hopefully will get people to stay longer. Instead of just a 3 or 4 day weekend, that now maybe we can get people to stay a week or 2 weeks, because we have that capability for that piece of that. The other thing that Doug and Georgia brought to us as an idea is trying to do some promotional days. And in the packet, you'll see some ideas of, just running promotions through those slow times to help bring more business in. And part of our request to you tonight would be look at those and approve those, because they're a different rate structure than what we've already approved. And so we want to be able to come back and say, hey, Monday through Thursday, we're going to run a special rate, or we're going to have some appreciation day, or just be creative kind of on the fly. And we just asking for your flexibility for us to price those as we think the market will bear. They may be outside of our normal structure, but it could very well help fill some campsites during the slow times during the weeks. So I think that's a pretty big piece of that too. And then when Doug and Georgie got here as well, a couple of things, can we sell firewood and can we sell ice? And so we've got plenty of firewood from the golf course over this past winter. So we're working with the golf course. We're going to start selling some firewood down there. We took a chest freezer from the golf course down, and we're going to bag ice and sell ice as well. So we're trying to figure out ways to increase revenue and again, increase that experience when you come to our campground. It's a personal experience, and the more amenities we can show and give, I think the more value we can advertise and market. So Doug and George have come up with some great ideas, and we're looking forward to all the other ideas you're going to come up with.
So there is an action item there, that first one just being that we have the flexibility to approve discounted rates. And that list there is just some examples of what they'd like to do, and it is just to fill those nights that we're not full.
And we're of the firm belief that if we can get people here and give them a good experience, then they'll come back, regardless of whether they're happy with the rates, or we just really feel like if we can give them a good guest experience, get them in the door. Everybody that's been in so far this year has just been so appreciative, and we'll be back. And so we think that getting them in the door basically will generate more down the road. So.
Well, that's good to hear. We've talked about in the past, trying to come up with creative ways to get them here during the weekday. So glad to hear that you all are working on it, considering it, and trying to come up with new ideas.
Okay, thank you.
So, Scott, could we officially make a motion then to give you guys that power or authority or whatever? Okay, so I will make a motion that we give Scott the authority to run some promotional days and offer some different rates in the Monday through Thursday timeframe to help fill up our camp spots.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And then the rules of code of conduct revision, basically it's all the same, just a little different verbiage, maybe updated verbiage. I don't really see anything a lot different, but we thought we'd start out fresh coming in and get that on the website. If you guys approve that, or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. But we just thought it would be good to start off with that for the new year. So.
And this isn't a complete rewrite of the rules. This is some modifications and some language changes and some of the ideas. On the facilities, you can see now that we've talked about the dump station and the rental piece of that, so we've incorporated some of those new pieces. Talked about where the camp host is located, so that's been a change. And just a little bit of change in language that is more customer friendly versus dictatorial, which we think goes a long ways.
So we need a motion on this one too? Okay, that's easy enough. I make a motion that we approve these Riverview Campground rules and etiquettes that have been tweaked.
I'll second.
Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
right, Mr. Director, it is your turn.
Thank you. I like to always start out with really always the good news is we've received a couple more, what I would call substantial donations towards what we do. Madison Precision has given us a $5,000 donation. They've designated some of that money for particular areas and the other area is not designated yet. So we're continuing to have a conversation on whether they want to give us some direction on the remaining money or if that's going to be up to us to figure out. But they gave a $1,000 donation for Movies in the Park, $1,000 for father-daughter dance, and $1,000 for the mother-son dance as well. So they will sponsor those two events that we'll have this year. Both of those dances are new for us this year. As always, we're trying to find new and innovative things to do for the family. And so we appreciate their stepping up and being a sponsor for that. So we appreciate Madison Precision for that. Norton King's Daughters Health has given us a donation of $2,700. $1,000 of that is going to be for a sunscreen station at Crystal Beach. They'll have their advertisement on them, but it'll pay for the station, the stand, and sunscreen for that station. And then they've requested various sports banners to be located in various locations, and also they want a basketball league sponsorship for the fall. And so they've donated $2,700 towards our programming. So again, thank you to Norton's King's Daughters for their donations. Appreciate it.
What sports banners does KDH want?
I'm sorry?
What sports banners does KDH want?
They
They just want the size that you put at the sport, like they want one at Rucker,
they want banners.
you know, the
Oh, I
big,
see.
Yeah.
the big banners.
Yeah, so we'll have a banner at the Brown Gym for the basketball league, and we've identified 4 locations in the city for the other 4. So those will go up as soon as we get those made. We just received the first $1,000 check towards the sunscreen station, so we'll get that ordered, and it should be here in time for the pool to open. I want to give you some financial updates. And in the packet, it looks like campground is first, so we'll start with campground. And I want to kind of make a caveat, and the same thing is going to be for Sunrise when we look at the financials. So if you looked at the financials for the campground, you would see that our expenses year-to-date are quite a bit higher. And there's an easy answer for that is because we are now showing the money that we give back out to credit card processors and for reservation fees, and we're showing innkeeper's tax and sales tax and all those as expenses. We're also showing those all as income as well. So I'm showing them as an expense because we're paying that out, but that's also included in the income side of it. So it's kind of a wash. But I just want to make sure we're capturing all that, so at the end of the year, we know how much money we spent in innkeeper's tax and how much we received in sales tax, just as a marker. So year-to-date, revenue, $90,407, expenses of $14,678, for net revenue of $75,728. If you look at, see if I can find my year-to-date from last year. So our net revenue, which is really the important piece, we're up about $12,000 from last year on net revenue to date. Again, our expenses are up, but our revenue's up as well. So all in all, pretty good. Again, all of our busy weekends are booked. We only had 4 or 5 for the eclipse, which surprised me, but there really wasn't any marketing done for Madison for the eclipse. So although we were really close, I don't think we were on anybody's radar screen. It'll be somebody else's responsibility to worry about the next one. I don't think I'll be around for that one. Yeah. For Sunrise, you have a pretty thick packet for Sunrise.
Can I ask a question before you get off campground?
Absolutely.
So on this page, you've got fiscal year 2024 total year-to-date expenses 14,678, but on this expense report, it says year-to-date, total to date 2024, 16,759 expenses.
Well, I probably updated one, but not the other.
Okay. I was just wondering which one was accurate.
Yeah, I try and, probably what I did was I try to update it right before our previous meeting, and I probably went and updated it more currently. So you'll see a new report in 2 weeks. It'll be through the end of April. So it'll match then.
Okay.
Apologize for that.
One more question on the campground before we
Sure.
move on. Do we still have any weekend, okay, Regatta, Chautauqua, what other weekends do you require the 3-day stay?
I don't know that we, I think we're usually at a 2-day stay, 2-night stay.
Okay,
Friday night, Saturday night. And so Memorial Day weekend is one. We may have a 3-night for Memorial Day because of Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Riverfest is one that is a minimum stay weekend. Talked about Chautauqua, talked about the Regatta. There's probably about 5 or 6 that we have minimum stays. This year, we backed off some of those longer dates. It just didn't make sense for us to make people stay through to Monday when they were leaving on Sunday. So I think even for the, like Halloween last year, we had 2-night minimum, and this year we've got 1-night minimum. So
okay,
we've backed off on some of that. What we don't want to do is we don't want to be unfriendly to our customers. You know, it needs to make sense, but doesn't need to be to the point where we're over the top, just trying to grab the next night. So I think, again, with Doug and Georgia here, we're gonna get a lot more clear data of those weekends and those dates, and saying, hey, yeah, people are really wanna stay for 1 or 2 nights, and we'll revisit that in the fall for next year again. But I'm always interested in seeing what's like real world experience and what people are saying, and how we can be more customer friendly I'd rather lose 1 night during a long weekend and gain a week later on from that customer who's really happy about it than to just try and nickel and dime everybody because it's 1 extra night.
yeah, I'm just wondering, is it beneficial at all to do it at all? You know, because I know I'm not a camper now, but when I was, I'm not gonna pack up all my stuff for 1 night.
Right.
You know, if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'm gonna stay. So, like, I know I visited with Doug earlier in the week, went down to visit him, and he was saying over the eclipse, that was one of ours that we thought was gonna be a big deal, turned out not to be. And he had, 3 or 4 calls of people that we could have rented a spot, but we had that, I'm not a big fan of the 2-night minimum.
Right.
We had that on there, so he couldn't do it. So I'm just wondering, does it really benefit us to do the 2-night minimum? What's the
Well, I think, because a good example is with the eclipse. So, we had people calling on Saturday wanting to book. Now, you've already had the first day, the minimum's already passed. So, again, we're trying to lock them in for 4 days when there's only 3 days left in the weekend. So are we losing 1 or 2 nights because, I can only get there on Saturday night, I can't get there Friday night,
right,
and I might as well not even book because I can't book that weekend.
right,
And so your point is valid, is whether or not that's actually pulling people away from a few of those empty spots where, again, if you're gonna come in and level out and get everything set up, you're not gonna do it for a night. And
Right.
so, I think this year we'll get really good input from Doug and Georgia about, does it make sense? I'm willing to try anything. I wanna
Okay.
be customer friendly, and if it's Regatta weekend, we know they're gonna be there every night.
right.
So, those kind of weekends they're not really in question. So, Doug, what do you think?
I actually have the rates and all the, you guys might copy, I think, copy.
It should be.
Yeah, it's in our
the
packet.
packet.
Yeah.
Obviously, Regatta, Chautauqua, I think that's okay. Memorial Day weekend, maybe, most people are gonna come and wanna stay tonight, but, we'll always have those that don't. So it's kind of we'll see how it goes this year, I guess, is really my best answer. Kind of see how the feel is down there, but, have both valid points.
I think what it probably does is eliminates those people who are passing through for the night and would like to, hey, I just wanna spend the night, I wanna stop and spend 1 night. It's a Saturday, can I stop? And we say, no, you can't, it's gotta be a 2-night minimum.
Yeah.
And I think we may lose some of those customers. How many? I don't know what that number is.
Right.
But I think it's definitely a possibility.
Okay,
I promise you, I won't be giving you all this data for Sunrise every meeting. I just wanted to show you the capabilities we have now with our new point of sale system, to really drill down and see what we're selling and what we're not selling, and how things are going. And so from my perspective, I love this. I can go through and have an understanding of what our inventory is and what's popular and what's not, and so we can, again, narrow our focus as to what we sell. It also really talks about, what our play looks like and how often and how many people. And so there's just a lot of detail here for you to look at and really see kind of what our numbers are and where our totals come from. So, we can tell you exactly how many bottles of Tito's we sold up there. So I like that kind of detail. At the end of the day, it helps us focus on our customers and get them what they want versus having excess inventory and things that are just going to sit on the shelf. So I don't know if I provided my usual Excel spreadsheet or not. I'll have to tell you off the top of my head, I think. So I know for March, we had a positive month. I think we were about $7,000 revenue ahead of expenses. And this month, we're not quite broken even yet, although we had a pretty big weekend. We'll know more here in a couple weeks. Weather's been beneficial and it's been detrimental as well. But this weekend was a really busy weekend at the golf course. We had an issue yesterday with, we sold out of carts before noon. And that is going to be a problem as we go forward and try and grow play at the golf course. We have to have a real conversation about things like golf cart and golf cart storage, and we want to bring more customers in. How do we accommodate them? So we have 36 carts. That's all we can store. It's all we can accommodate. And you have to think that some of the people playing had their own carts. So that's going to be a significant problem moving forward, and it's going to inhibit our growth and our ability to get people to the golf course.
and we're reinforcing our 2 people to a cart rule, do you know?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all we can do. Yeah,
We're not letting people take a cart per person?
no.
Okay,
On some nights you can when there's nothing going out there and they want to speed up, but that's a $5 premium as well to pay more for that. There's a lot of things that need to be focused on at the golf course, and so I think once Crystal Beach opens, I'll be spending a lot more time up there and getting focus out there. We're having a really difficult time hiring food service people. I had 2 people apply, set up interviews, and neither one of them showed this week. So that's our biggest issue right now is we're basically selling hot dogs and chips and candy. We have nobody in the kitchen, so we've got to figure out how to draw that in and get some bodies in there to help us with the food service part of it. We do have the chamber event coming up the first Friday in May, so that's all outside food, so that's not an issue with us whatsoever. But we're going to start getting busier, and it's going to be a lost opportunity for us, so we have to find some personnel to fill in up there. Do you have any questions? My next item is to talk about my side of the Crystal Beach, which is the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and the point of sale system. For the most part, we have all of our furniture ordered, and the furniture it's not a desk chair, although that's part of it. It's lifeguard chairs, it's picnic tables, it's trash cans, it's umbrellas, it's all those parts that make the pool functional, chaise lounge chairs, equipment for the concession stand. Pretty much all that has been ordered and delivered. I'll have to go through and do an inventory to see what's left outstanding. Right now, we're waiting for them to paint the pool before we can start moving over and setting things up. So I would say probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you'll start seeing a lot more activity at the pool and on the pool deck with lifeguard chairs and those kinds of things being set up. So I think we're in pretty good shape as far as that goes. Point of sale system, I received that later last week. We have our cards for our passes for the year. So we're working on now getting the point of sale set up and doing a dry run so we can make sure that we're ready to go. And once we're comfortable with that, hopefully next week we'll announce a date where we can start doing pre-sales for passes, which I hope to be by the end of April. So that's really the next big thing for Crystal Beach. So we'll make that announcement once we're ready with the point of sale system. Any questions? All right, the last thing I want to talk about is really kind of a start of a conversation. And it's something that I've brought up before. It's something that really kind of came to a head with an individual over spring break, over Madison's spring break. A teenager who wanted to play pickleball, and because he was 14, really wasn't allowed to. And, you know, when I first got here, I pretty much said straight up that we have a hole in our programming, and we've got to figure out how to fill the hole. And that hole is from 13 to 18. That is the prime time that we need to be giving things for teenagers to do versus them finding things to do. And so there's a resurgence, or maybe a new interest in pickleball amongst high schoolers and junior high school students. We got to figure out how to accommodate that. That's just one piece, but we have to figure out how to start focusing on that age group and finding things for them to do within our department to keep them active, to keep them interested, and to keep them out of trouble. I think there's a lot of interest for them for things to do. We have people moving in with teenagers, and it's not a good look if you come into town with teenagers and you've got nothing for them to do in a new town. It's going to be hard to bring people in that way. And so we've got to start really thinking about, not just for this summer, but the summer's right around the corner, but going forward, what are we going to start doing for that age group, programmatically, athletically, non-athletically? I mean, we're open for any ideas, any forethought on that. To me, it's really, really critical that once you turn 12 and don't do anything in junior high, there's nothing for you to do. And so we can't just expect, because we got some basketball courts, to go down there and play basketball. We want to find things for them to do programmatically that give them interest. And so I want to start having that conversation. I want to start having that discussion with all of you, with ideas. And I mean, it may be things that we have to think about from our parks, where, you know, do we have anything for them? You know, we've got a skate park, but that's not heavily utilized. And we have outdoor courts for pickleball and tennis, but that's not heavily utilized. We have to find things for that age group to do and focus on. And as we look forward to upgrading our parks, we need to keep that age group in mind, very much so. So I just want to put that out there. We've got to think about some things for this summer to keep kids busy. Pickleball, we have to really talk about how we accommodate kids this summer for pickleball, because I think it's really important for them to be able to play when they want to play. So that's just a bigger conversation, but I just wanted to start that conversation tonight, and we'll keep bringing it up, and we'll throw out some ideas that we come up with. But y'all have been much more involved in being around kids of that age. You may have better insight as to what would be popular, and having the conversation.
I think maybe, excuse me, pickleball is a possibility. I know the Madison gym classes, they run pickleball unit, and it might even be a good idea to just talk to the gym teachers to see what's popular amongst the kids. Mrs. Block and Mrs. Weiner and Mr. Sandlin probably have some good insight. And maybe just open it up in a dialogue to the kids, and also just remind them that we have some of those things available around town for them. I wonder about supervision and liability a little bit, but you know, that's par for the course with teenagers. So continue on.
I will say the skate nights have been very popular with that age group.
I've been teaching for 21 years and in town for 20, and a big complaint among that age group is that we don't have anything to do. So definitely, I would love to continue to find avenues, healthy avenues for those kids to have something to do around town, so.
Any chance in that May date, when you're doing the back-to-back, that maybe on one of those nights, there could be a 2-hour time frame where it's ages 12 to
We
16?
did
or
an
whatever?
hour at the beginning of those nights for kids 12 and under, just so they had more room. It was safer for them to be out on the floor, but they fill it the rest of the time, those kids that age, so I don't think it needs to be just for them, but
You don't think we could have one for like elementary age, an hour, and then an hour for secondary?
I mean, they're there the rest of the night skating. I'd hate to limit it to just an hour.
You know, if I'm 16, I'd rather skate with people my own age than trying to avoid the 5-year-old in front of me that keeps falling. I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't know.
Since we have the back-to-back nights.
Hmm.
The other thing that was not, it's a separate conversation from the teenager piece, but it's related to skates. We've talked about, and we'll come up with a proposal for the board about whether or not we can rent out Brown Gym for skate parties for outside groups, where we charge them a fee to rent the gym and skates, or they can just rent our skates and do something at their facility. So we're trying to figure out an avenue with that as well to help some of the revenue piece of that might be an option. Since now we have 200 pairs of skates, that may be a popular option for outside groups.
I think Jake's got a good idea as far as talking to the schools and the teachers in that area, but, you know, also calling other towns, similar towns, that we feel like are on top of things. Columbus comes to mind. I know they're a little bit bigger, but we have a lot of amenities too, just to see what's working for other people and, or any ideas, but obviously we can brainstorm too.
Yeah, we've got a good contact with Scottsburg and Jeffersonville, so we can certainly talk to them and see what they do. Probably Jeffersonville is a really good source as well, so we'll reach out to them. The last item is kind of a preview for the open house that we're scheduling for May the 6th from 6 to 7:30. As part of our grant from Bethany Legacy Foundation, of course that's what we do in city government as well, is we want to open up some conceptual plans that we've been working on for 4 different areas within the city for public comment, input, and then just talking about what we're looking at. So the first one will be Sunrise Golf Course with the addition of a driving range and updated facilities there. The second one would be Brown Gym renovation for the basement level. We have schematic drawings for that. The third one would be a conceptual plan for Rucker, for a renovation at Rucker. And the fourth is an updated master plan from 2011 for John Paul Park that we've been working on with a citizen group on upgrading John Paul Park. So we want to have it open for the public to come in, take a look at the plans, make comment, have discussions about it. And we're planning on the 6th from 6 to 7:30 after our park board meeting. So just wanted to give you the heads up for that. So the next park board meeting will be a little bit longer.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Do we have dates for the father-daughter, mother-son dances yet?
We do not.
Okay. I saw there was some work had been done down at John Paul Park on the baseball field. The top of the dugouts had been removed. It looks like some grading or something on the field. Did you have any updates for us there?
Yeah, we've regraded the infield. So the adult league softball is going to play at John Paul Park this year. So we've taken down the roofs of the dugouts that were rotted and unsafe. We're going to, we have proposals for new dugouts. We don't have the money raised yet, but we will have enough money. We're going to pour slabs for the bottom of the dugouts. We'll put some new chain link fence in front of those for adult league. And then we're also going to put some temporary fencing in for the backstop so we can do adult league softball this spring and fall down there. We want to make John Paul active again, so we've been doing some work down there to upgrade it.
Anybody else have any questions before I open it up to the public? All right, if you're here tonight and you'd like to approach the podium, please come at this time.
Hi, I'm Jan Beatrice at 701 East 2nd Street. I have a couple suggestions on your music at the senior center dances from long history. You might try, I believe that Music in the Park is always the second Friday of the month, so you might encourage seniors to go to that rather than making it a tug of war. And then this is Madison's Music City, or Indiana's Music City. So please get with the folks that are part of Madison Music Movement and find out what kind of music the seniors want. We have got tons of bands coming in here all the time, and that's the group you should be working with to.
We did reach out to them.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have any bands that are willing to fill out a W-9.
Well,
None of the bands at Madison Music Movement fill out W-9s.
okay, well, that's something that they need to keep talking about. So I'm sure that there are people in town that didn't realize that, so that's, yeah. Okay, well, that's worth pursuing though, because if we're really gonna be Madison's or Indiana's Music City, we need to up our game a little professionally. But the second Friday of the month, I believe, is the Music in the Park, so people can do that.
We do promote that in the newsletter for them and have scheduled around it usually.
Yeah, and years ago, it was a constant battle because
Oh.
rain dates were the Brown Gym, which was,
Okay.
and so there was never any willingness to partner. So now that we don't have bands for every Friday night, that's a good partnership. And then I just wanted to ask how many passes we've sold to the pool.
Sold any passes because we don't have our point of sale system up yet.
Okay, thank you.
I thought my friend Carlos did bring this up.
Oh, sorry.
So, most of you have no clue what Pearl Park is. It sits on city land. We talk to Scott about this all the time, about how it's muddied because Jefferson County Preservation Council owns the buildings. The city owns the land. But we're excited because Indiana Landmarks is going to be coming here in October for a huge conference. I've been working and talking with Jess at HMI about, being able to utilize our space some when they have breakout sessions and they have 30 minutes between times, and some things that we might be able to do to work with them. So we're putting that out there because we want you all to know that while it sits on city land, we're going to be including it as a city park, even though we don't ever hear about Pearl Park at city meetings because it's kind of muddied. We use that word often with you all, but at some point we want to be able to tie that in together and make a decision whether it's your land or it's our buildings on your land, because I don't think the people who were working on Pearl Park back in the 90s probably wasn't an issue. But anyway, we're excited, and I've been doing some back work on getting that done. We've hired a contractor to start doing some work that our volunteer group is totally not able to do. And so BJ comes highly recommended. We feel like getting him on board to start making some differences in those buildings that have been homeless shelters for years that now have good locks, and we're cleaning it up. But I just want to keep that in your all's mind, that in our mind, Pearl Park belongs to your park too, because it's on your land that you own, and it gets overlooked often. So we're working on that. We're also another group of volunteers that have just poured our blood, sweat, and tears into it all last summer, kind of doing what we were able to do, but now we're at a point where we're hiring people. We have a good chunk of money that's been left to us through the Community Foundation for years that these people have been donating into, and we've been able to acquire a good amount of money. But we want you to know in October, don't feel like, oh, we didn't have any idea that Lisa and Carla were going to say the Preservation Council was a part of the City Parks Department, because we kind of already put that out there to people that we want them on our property, and when that comes. So, and you might have said this at the last meeting because I was late reading book, but the signs have gone up at the golf course. We really appreciate that because we know how many years those people had waited. So when Charlie and I were taking in our free golf this week, we pulled up to the first hole and was like, Grody's here. Who else is here? So we tried to look for them. So good job, because that was a long time coming up there. And I know they're still missing some, but still, I think once they go up, more people want to sponsor it. It's really classy. The look of it, looks like it's in a better place than just what it was before. So appreciate that. And Carla didn't get to talk about just a little bit. We kind of go down all the time to the outdoor courts, which we're very grateful for, that are the tennis courts, but they're the pickleball courts certain nights and days and times, and it's all kind of hard for people to get used to when they're allowed to come and not. But there's some severe damage down there. We've had a lot of holes and cracks and stuff like that. And so tonight's league night. Charlie's got 44 people playing in league tonight. And so fortunately we had a volunteer who had some concrete experience, and so he fixed all the holes, probably not the way the city might want it done, but it'll keep people from falling through the 10 weeks of Mondays. But at some point we're going to have to start addressing the upkeep of those parks, because those were gifted to the city from that other volunteer group. We seem to have a lot of that in Madison, but it kind of gets overlooked that we drag those pickleball bags and nets out and it destroys the property that they're on. So it's a little bit hard. So we want to keep it in your mind that outdoor only pickleball courts would be huge for the 5-year master plan. And even indoor pickleball courts for the 5-year master plan would be the dream for especially people that, we ran into people today and Charlie's like, how come you're not playing in the league? They're like, Bob Candace, 74 years old, and he's like, I can't play outside anymore, Charlie. So, there's that other contingent of people. I don't know if it's something else that you all would think of, but for the teenagers, and this is a nightmare because, like you said, it's monitoring them nowadays. Not that we were monitored as teenagers either, but, Bicentennial Park gets used a lot for families and stuff, but I think, could we once a month hold they just want to hang out. A lot of times you don't have to entertain them. They just want a free space, and, we could create our own fence barrier, and have a glow night. I think that's very inexpensive to do the neon bands and, just a DJ or just a place that's a comfort zone for them, I think. And I think we get enough volunteers to say, and teachers, that are used to them kind of more in that maybe that would be one way to start, just giving them my grandsons are 17 and they were here this weekend, and because they did the West Street Music Festival, they were perfectly content down there just hanging around, eating the food trucks and walking around seeing people. So, the twins are 17, they don't need entertainment. They just need to be left alone on their own devices safely. So I don't think sometimes we have to put thousands of dollars between bells and whistles. We just have to say, this is a safe space for you, and we kind of monitor that safe space. So that's my only thought, having 17-year-old teenagers. So thanks. Thanks for the signs, because it was key.
Anybody else? Okay, our next meeting will be Monday, May 6th. So we'll have our parks meeting and followed by the open house to see the schematics and stuff for our improvements on those 4 parks that Scott talked about: John Paul, Rucker, Sunrise, and Brown Gym. Thank you for coming. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.